as deep as I'd like to at one point. Like, there's going to be a day where we've got less stuff to talk about and we'll get into it. But there's the ultimate goal, winning a championship, right? And certain teams put themselves in those categories. Like, for example, the Yankees. Every year they don't win a championship, they deem it a complete and utter failure.
Yep.
Right? I would not put the San Francisco Giants in that category. Making the World Series and winning the World Series as the ultimate goal. Yes, that's their goal, but they're probably not going to achieve that.
Yeah. For the Giants, it's just be competitive.
Develop a young player, right? You know what I mean? Like there are levels to it. So I look at the Warriors. When you have Steph Curry and you're where you're at when it comes to the finances of the team and how much you've invested, championship is the ultimate goal. Anything less of that is on a big level a failure.
Right.
But I do believe this season can have layers of more success than last year, even if it doesn't go as far, because I feel like I've already checked off the boxes of, can Kuminga play? Check. Right. Yes. Podziemski, can he play? Check. Yes. TJD, can he play? Check. Yes. Right? Can Clay accept a different role as I move forward to try to capture another championship? Check. Yes. You know, like there are smaller other things. It's not the big goal. The big goal is winning the championship.
Right.
But on other levels, I feel like this can be a more successful season than last year, even if it doesn't go as far, because I've accomplished other things with this roster. Does that sound absurd when I say that out loud?
No, stop saying that. Stop saying that. No, stop saying it out loud. You're just talking. No,
because I think some people are like, championship is the only way you can succeed.
No. Stop listening to the internet, man. Don't listen to.
No, I got friends
Twitter,
that feel that way.
Yeah, but it's not. Listen, we understand the deal. It will be disappointing to the core to not win a championship. It will be disappointing to Joe Lacob to not win a championship. It will be disappointing to Steve Kerr to not win a championship. And even Steve, in hearing that comment yesterday, saying, "Hey, I really believe we can make a deep run and have some success here." I'm in the camp of, okay, yes, I want a championship. It's going to be a failure if we don't make the championship. But what does it look like? Well, one, I know Kuminga's a player. I've been waiting on that. We know he's a player. Cool. I got a young guy who popped. I still don't know about Moses Moody. I don't know how the Warriors feel about Moses Moody. I think he could be a good role player for this team. I don't know if he could be a starter in this league. I don't know yet. I haven't seen enough. And that's not on him. That's, playing time, being on a deep roster. So I don't know about Moody yet. But I'm willing to bring him over, and I'm saying, you know what? At least he's a professional. I would rather have a Moses Moody on my roster because of the professionalism, because I know when I put him in the game, he may not make every shot, but he's going to play hard. So I'm cool with that with Moses Moody. He's a pro. He's going to be in this league for a long time. Podziemski and TJD. Looks like I got some players who could fit on the basketball team. I don't know what they're going to be in the future.
Agreed.
But it looks like, okay, we got some young guys who can play. Now, how do I navigate the core? Looney's not playing anymore. Wiggins there's been a lot more downs and ups this season for Andrew Wiggins. Hell, the last 2 years. Klay Thompson is going to be a free agent. We don't know what's going to happen there. Are the Warriors going to re-sign him? Does he want to move on? I have no. He said he wants to be a Warrior forever, but what does the money look like? Chris Paul has a team. They're going to have a team option on him. He may be bye-bye. And you still don't have a lot of wiggle room because of all the contracts here. So what do? But in that standpoint, if I know, hey, you're losing a play-in, but I know Kuminga's a player, great. But you still got to build out this roster. And so there will be a disappointment if they don't go far in the playoffs because of what has transpired this season. All the injuries, which we knew could be a factor. The suspensions with Draymond Green. That hurt this team. No matter what you say, that hurt this team. Their record without Draymond, I think, was like 11-14. Because I think he's missed 25 games off the top of my head. It could be 5 for the suspension, 13 for the indefinite. That's 18 games right there. He missed the first 2 games due to an ankle injury, missed another game due to personal issues. So Draymond Green, he's that good of a player to where that record's flipped. You got to figure that's 5 more wins there. Maybe you're in the top 6 here. So considering everything that's transpired this season, if they don't make it past the first round, it will be a disappointment despite knowing that Kuminga pop. Because I had it baked in, Kuminga's going to be a player. I figured they could count on Kuminga. I didn't think it would happen the way it happened, but I figured Kuminga could be a player and take that leap. It would be disappointing, Shasky, to have the most expensive roster in NBA history and not make it out of the first round, or not even get to the first round.
That is a failure on the grand scheme.
That is
I'm talking about like. I just think that they're a more desirable place this offseason than they were last year. Last year, I think there was so much unknown. What?
Are they?
Yeah.
Because
I'll
Steph will be a year older.
Yes.
Draymond will be a year older.
Yes.
We don't know if they have Klay Thompson.
I think this. I don't know Klay. I'm guessing. But seeing him embrace the role that he's in and seeing his success, I feel like that is the path forward for him, and I think that's an encouraging thing for me. And I could be totally wrong. B, he could get a deal with Team X tomorrow, and he leaves, and this sounds dumb. I feel like Chris Paul really likes the situation, and I think that he likes the role that he's been in. He gets to start sometimes, and for the most part, he gets to lead that second unit, and I think there's some encouragement there. I feel like whether he opts in or whatever that situation, or the team opts in, or whether they like negotiate a longer term, maybe smaller amount of money to get under the apron. I don't know. But I look at last year and I feel like they'd only had a couple of moves to make. Right. And then this year, it just feels like, okay, I've got 3 guys young that I know can play a little. I don't know to what degrees. I feel like Kuminga could be a borderline all-star someday. Podziemski and TJD at minimum are role players. Steph is still Steph. If Klay's coming off the bench, I've got a great 6th man. You know, Draymond is still look, you watch every night. There's an unknown of could he get ejected? Absolutely. But when he plays, he's still a high-level player.
Yep. No, he's still a high-level.
He's still a very high-level player. So I look at this destination and I'm like, all right, I don't know about Wiggins, but if I'm one of these guys, let's say I'm Paul George this offseason, I'm just randomly picking a guy out. I think the Warriors are much more desirable this year than they were last year when you didn't know about TJD and Pods and Kuminga. And I didn't know what was going on. Like seeing them embrace CP3 and CP3, who a lot of other veterans around the league respect, I think that the credibility back in the locker room has been reestablished.
That's interesting.
That's just my feel on it. I could be totally wrong.
That's interesting. But I don't know how many moves you're going to be able to make to get up against the cap. You could be desirable all you want to, but how much wiggle room will you have?
I admit you're limited.
Right, you're pretty limited here. So you could be desirable, but at the same time, other teams, and let me play devil's advocate.
No, I want to hear it.
Because I do believe the Warriors are more desirable, but LA is always more desirable destination.
That I will not argue.
Denver. No, people don't think highly of Denver, but you don't think there's a lot of people who say, man, I could go play with Jokic to get the easiest shots of my life.
For sure.
You know, nobody wants to live in OKC. We get all that, but they have a young and up-and-coming team. Minnesota, same thing. Like, there are other destinations that look a little more desirable for players, but from the Warriors standpoint, yes, they do have. Hey, look, they're always going to have credibility. When you have an owner like Joe Lacob who's spending money left and right, and the way they treat their players first class, when you allow Andrew Wiggins, hey, it's okay, handle your personal reasons. We're here for you when you get back. That does go a long way to players. That does go a long way around the league. So, yeah, they are more desirable. I just don't know how much that's going to help them in the offseason when you consider where they're at with the cap situation and where they're at in terms of moves. Like, if you want to make some moves here, then we know guys are going to have to get traded or guys are going to have to get moved on from. What's the contract for Klay going to look like? What's the contract for CP? Like, there's a lot going on here. And if you trot back a team that did not make it to the first round of the playoffs, despite being the most expensive roster in the NBA with all the luxury tax, and you got to get under the first apron and the second apron and all that stuff. I don't know how you could tell that to the fan base.
Well, they're not going to roll back. I don't believe that they can roll back the same team. Right. Nor do I think Joe Lacob's going to roll back the same team.
Right.
And to me, the feeling is that Dunleavy has been aggressive. I feel like Dunleavy's got the green light to be aggressive, and it feels like Joe Lacob is absolutely going to be aggressive. If you'd have told me 1 year ago they were going to trade Jordan Poole for CP3, I would have said, you're insulting my intelligence.
Well, we saw how the year went, though. It was obvious that Jordan Poole no longer. Yeah, I know.
That was random. I mean, I'm still blown away by it.
I know.
So, and then I look at the coach, right? I do think this matters. Like, this coach is going to be here next year and the year after. That is locked in stone.
Well, it's locked in and he's going to be here next year. Things can change when it comes to NBA coaches. I'm just saying. Just always think about that. It can change. But he signed up for 2 years, $35 million.
I feel like the ball's in his court.
Right.
And as long as Steph Curry's there, the two of them clearly are going to be paired at the hip. And so
but look at this though. Look, we're all excited right now about the Dubs and everything like that. And I get the optimism.
I just think they're in a better spot.
They're in a better spot.
But
are they a better team? That's the key. You could be in a better spot, but are you a better team?
Well, I look at the Wiggins.
Even against San Antonio on Monday. San Antonio's got 14 wins. Who looked more athletic?
Yeah, but
who looked faster? And I get it. They're young and they're not winning any games here. But the Warriors, every single night, it feels like they're the least athletic team on the floor. Now, they could be the smartest team on the floor, and they are because of the IQ and all the experience, and they can still win games with their minds. And if you get into a playoff series, maybe you can still win here and there. But they're in 10th right now, Shasky.
Yeah, but
the league's going to get better next year.
No doubt. But look at how they're allocating their funds currently. Like, okay, the San Antonio game's a great example. You're missing $55 million of Steph Curry.
I get that.
Okay? $30 million goes to Andrew Wiggins, right? And so right now I'm looking at that slot, and then I'm looking at the 25 or so million that you're going to get reduced because of the Clay. Like, even if Clay signs an extension, it's going to be less than what he's making now, which gives you more wiggle room underneath that. I believe that they're going to do something with Chris Paul, whether he's gone, okay, that opens up money, or whether he takes a longer deal with shorter amount of money. Something will happen there. I think that they've got better financial flexibility. Now, you've got to have a Kuminga extension down the line that's going to kick in. They're going to have to make a move. That is, I think, that is like staring them in the face. A big move is coming. And I just think that they're in a little better spot. They've got a couple of controllable young contracts that are good for them and are also good to staple with something to acquire you a better player. I look at their financial spot now, and I look at their roster now, and I think they're in a good spot. Now, the big thing is like Wiggins, like they've gotten no return on that $30 million, $26 million because it just kicked in the extension. Nothing. They've gotten very, very little on that contract. They need more.
They need a lot more. I mean, they need to get bigger. They need to get more athletic. You know, you got aging superstars. Look, Father Time's undefeated. And even though Steph is still playing at a very elite level, he's still there. He's not blowing by guys as he used to. He's still crafty. It's a tick down. Yeah. Very small. But everything matters, right? Defensively, Draymond is the same defender. He's still a high-level defender, still a great weak-side defender, still a great team defender, still a great individual defender. But even when he used to shut down guys who were bigger and stronger than him, now it's a bit of a struggle. He's getting older. He had lower back soreness the other night.
Has he been the second best Warrior this season? I'm asking. I don't know.
15 guys is the second best Warrior. That is a day-to-day proposition.
Okay, so totality of the season, if you were ranking best Warriors this year, how would you do it?
Kuminga, number 2. I'm going Kuminga, number 2.
And then who's 3?
Maybe Chris Paul, but that answer changes every single game. You know, Draymond is as important. All these pieces go together. You know what I'm saying? But how can I gauge that when they've had 21 different starting lineups, Shasky? 21 different starting lineups. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but now it feels like they found a little something. Now, obviously, the Curry injury has changed their starting lineup. It does feel like they found a little bit of what the second unit could be next year. CP3, Clay, TJD to some degree. That to me, like that's a hell of a nucleus off the bench.
It's a good nucleus, but is that a championship nucleus? Is that a nucleus that's going to get you deep into the playoffs?
No, you're going to have to make a move.
The mindset of Joe Lacob.
You need a guy.
I'm thinking from just Joe Lacob's standpoint here. He's in it to win it. All this 10 seed and fighting, yeah, sure, you're happy to discover players. But again, when you have this roster with this much money, I mean, come on. We're 10th right now in the Western Conference. That's not going to fly with Joe Lacob.
No, I know. But
so that's why he may feel, I'm sure he feels great about Kuminga. But there's a lot of things that's like, oh, man, how can we get better next year when we don't have a lot of options here? Optionality and word we heard all season long or all training camp. You get what I'm saying?
Look,
I know you do have Steph.
And to me, like, this is a player-driven league, and these guys are going to dictate where they want to go. And when you just play the finance game, when you tick down Clay's assumed extension, even let's say it's $30 million.
What if it just walks?
What?
What if he just walks?
Well, then you get a free max slot.
Right.
Right?
What if he just walks?
That's a desirable, like a free max slot. We haven't had that in forever, and then you've got obviously the 30 million or so with Andrew Wiggins. Who knows what ends up happening with Kevon Looney? Who knows what happens with CP3? I think their financial flexibility is much greater than people are giving it credit for.
Well, Joe Lacob's always going to pay the money, right? He's always going to pay that money, but you got to remember, you got to get under the second apron, right?
To be able to trade those first.
To be able to trade those first. And the second apron is $182.5 million. First apron, $172 million. So what's the penalties for the first apron? Well, if you don't, that first apron, when a team exceeds $172 million at this point, the following restrictions are triggered. Teams cannot acquire a player in a signing trade if that player keeps the above apron, right? Teams cannot sign a player waived during the regular season whose salary is over $12 million mid-level exception. Salary matching in trades must be within 110% rather than the 125% for teams not above the apron. And the penalties for the second apron, a little more egregious here. So there's a lot going on with the Golden State Warriors in the offseason, but we do have 18 games left. Is it a more desirable destination? I don't know. The offseason will tell. We'll tell. The players will tell you by the moves they make, by the signings they make, by the trades they make. We'll see about that. I do like the young players. To that point, it is good to see the young players pop. But in terms of wiggle room and guys ring chasing or whatnot, are we that same destination? I don't know.